Amen. Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Steve, you want to lead us? Sure. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all. All right. Let's see. Public Works Committee. Alderman Doré, it's your show. Let's get to work.
I'll now open Public Works. Let the record show that there is a quorum. Public Works Director Albert John, is he here? He's not here.
No, Albert's still, he's still fighting with his back. He's hopeful. He's hopeful next month he'll be able to come up here, but he is at work. He does go into the office. For a little while, he had a chauffeur. Wesley would go and pick him up at his house and bring him to work. And he's graduated to being able to drive himself to work now. So he does go into work now, but he didn't feel like he can come up the steps and stuff here and get upstairs and stand up and stuff. So, but he's hopeful next month he'll be in. And I can tell you what Wesley can probably update you on some of the things. The street sweeper, as most of you have probably noticed, has not been working for quite some time. We are currently waiting for a new fuel tank for it. The fuel tank was rusted on the top, and of course leaking fuel and trash in the system. And the manufacturer says that they no longer make those fuel tanks. It's about 15 years old, I think, 15, 16 years old. And so Wesley, he called Mr. Core and tried to get him some help with Brad also, and they kind of joined forces. But we are having a fuel tank made. They were able to take the old fuel tank out so that they have an idea, measurements and things on what to do to build a new one. So they are building a new fuel tank for it, and we're hopeful that it'll be back on the road soon. The I-10 tractor was heading out to cut the grass, hopefully for one last time for the winter, and the door of the tractor, which if you know anything about tractors is all glass, after it crossed the tracks on Hutchinson, and within a block or two the door swung open, and it was a very windy day, and basically all they had in their hand was the handle that was attached to the glass. That's been fixed, and now it is in the shop for a leak on some of the hydraulic cylinders. Again, that piece of machinery is, Tim, when did you use that machine? Didn't you use that? I-10 tractor? The tractor itself, yes, probably 12, 15 years old. So it's, we're holding them together. Of course, now it's too wet to cut the interstate, but as soon as it dries up a little bit, we'll make one more pass for the winter to cut the grass on the interstate, make sure it looks nice. I think that's pretty much it for Albert, what he would report. Everything else is flowing as it should.
All right. Well, thank you, Mayor. And with that, we will move on to our city engineer, Mr. Tim Mater.
Thanks, Jeff. I have one action item. It's in your Public Works agenda as action item resolution regarding the LGAP 20. That should read 2024-2025 grant application. That was my mistake. It is correct in the resolution. You should have a copy of the resolution in your packets. I'll read the title. A resolution authorizing and directing the mayor to submit for and on behalf of the city of Crowley an application to the fiscal year 2024, 2025 Office of Community Development's Local Government Assistance Program, known as LGAP, pertaining to public works equipment and drainage and sidewalk improvements. In the past, recent past, we've asked for funding to cover public works equipment. We decided to expand it into sidewalks and drainage so that maybe we might be able to do some of that if we can't get the right price for the equipment that we might want to look at. So that's the routine, is to adopt the resolution, it's submitted by the end of February, and then we wait for the legislature to meet and decide how much money comes to the parish, not the police jury, but the parish, and it's divided up equally amongst the communities. Usually, you're gonna see 15, maybe 20, maybe a little over 20,000 in a grant. You get that every year, and you use it wisely, so it's a good grant.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity to have some. It's a grant, so there's no match. It's state dollars. But currently, the one that we have now that I'm waiting on the paperwork to come back, the agreement to come back from the state. We've already signed it and sent it to them. They have to sign it and send it back to us before we can actually spend money, and it's a reimbursement grant, and it's just over $12,000 that we have. So it's tough to find something for $12,000. So it's usually put toward the purchase of something else, but Jeff will need a motion to approve that resolution.
Sandy makes the motion, and Brad seconds that. Any more discussion? If not, all in favor? All opposed? Motion passes.
That is, as I said, the only action item. Yeah, only action item. I have updates everywhere else. If you have questions today, anytime between now and next Tuesday, or at any time, give me a call.
Okay. If that's all we have from Mr. Mader, we can move on to Mr. Wesley Jacob.
Hello, how y'all doing?
All right.
Happy New Year's. December was fun. We had a lot going on, the cold, the wet. But as far as the grass, we right at the bottom end of it. I think we got maybe one more pass, maybe two, but with that freeze coming through, so we should be all right. Trees, we've been still cutting trees. I'm fearful of the weather that's coming up that freeze. If we get a lot of rain and freeze, so we're gonna be looking at trees that may be leaning over. We found a couple of them last week. So we try to get that. Anything that looks like it's gonna uproot, we'll be on that. I wanna say thank you. We finally got the vehicles in, the 4 trucks. We were laughing earlier. The mayor was on me, he was like, you didn't beg for these trucks, but you're not putting them on the road. But my thing is, look, let's get them outfitted, get the toolboxes on, get all the tools in, get everything calibrated, so we can just go straight to work. So they're on the road right now. I don't know if y'all noticed, but we had to buy some new lights, towing packages. So thank y'all for coming in use. As going back to drainage with Albert, what's going on? We have a catch basin at the Enterprise that we're gonna tie in from Front Street into that drainage line that's going in front of the pavilion. We have a line that we're gonna tap into that we found that we didn't know about. So that's one project. I was talking to Ms. Sasson on Avenue G. There's some sinkholes on Avenue G, as well as Hutchinson. There was one on Hutchinson, but there was on Weston. So all of those have POs already. The mayor got with me. We have a contract to go and fix those sinkholes. That's a little bit too big for us. Other than that, we're steadily rocking and rolling and trying to do the best that we can. You have any questions?
Yes.
Brad?
Wes, on the Stanton Mill Road between the National Guard Armory and past Scrap and Salvage, got a report today that the street floods during rains, and I think you were notified, Mayor. I was wondering if that was a work order put in for that project.
I hadn't seen a work order. I am aware of it now. Let me back up. I've been traveling to my shop on Standard Mill a little bit more recently because that storm blew my roof off, so I've been fixing it. And I've noticed right there by the scrapyard, somebody's gonna have to figure out that traffic that's coming from the scrapyard and it's pulling on the side, and then they're kind of cutting, and it's constantly pushing mud in the ditch, and it's stopping up the drainage.
Okay.
So we need to address that, but I have it on my radar. I don't have a work order, but that's in the plans. Right now, we're on Avenue N and First today, and then we're working alongside wastewater on East 10th. They got a pretty big mess over there, so we're over there. So we're coming right back to that southeast side, so that's gonna be pretty soon. We're gonna be on
Okay.
Standard Mill Road.
And did you get a chance to look at South Parkinson at Pine Street? Okay.
You talking about by the school? What you talked to me about?
Yes, yes.
I was like, man, I don't know. There's no ditch on Parkinson. It's where it turns off.
That's where it turns, yeah.
But the gutter is kind of, we need to do something about the gutter, and then, but it takes a good bit of planning to plan all these little jobs.
Sure.
But it is on the radar.
Okay.
We have some that, like I said, I always say, some is a little bit more sophisticated. Ms. Marks talked about it in January of last year when I first started by the old hospital. We finally got in there and kind of figured out where everything was going. So we got a little relief. And I was in there today because we had CES in the neighborhood, and all the way up to 11th Street, that water is pretty much gone. So
Good.
we're getting on it.
Yeah.
I got a list in the tablet, and I just keep on plugging
Okay,
it.
well, thank you, Wes, I appreciate it.
Dickey?
Yeah, Brad, on South Parkinson and Pine. I drive there several times every day. I never notice any issues.
Yeah, in the corner, that would be the northwest corner of the intersection, there's a vacant lot. And then immediately north of it, there's a house. And the individual that lives there asked, because when water backs up into his yard and just ponds there, he was saying, and it's not getting out toward the ditch on Pine Street.
All right, and Sammy?
Yeah, at Garden Club, one of the ladies was saying in front of Christian Care. I'm not exactly sure, but I think there was you talked to him already about it, or? Okay.
It's okay, go ahead.
Well, that was part of the what I said about the sinkholes on Western.
Yeah.
We already got a PO for it. The contractor's aware of it, and they just got to get there. Yep.
Anybody else have questions for Wesley? If not, we thank you a lot. All right. All right, well, with that, you have to adopt the resolution, or we already did it? We already did. So with that, no other discussion items, we will just recess.
Hold on a minute. Did they? Y'all voted on it? Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Then
I
that's
didn't
it.
hear it, yeah. I missed that.
Yeah.
Good deal. Okay, so let's see. Utility Committee, Alderwoman Marks.
All right, thank you, Mayor. There is a quorum for the Utility Committee meeting, and the purpose of the meeting will be to consider, first on our list will be Tim Crater from Wastewater, our superintendent, to give us his report.
Good afternoon. Real quick, we have 230 from December 1st to current. We've received 230 locate requests from Louisiana One Call. We had 31 work orders filed with our department. That's not counting the after-hour calls. Those go into a separate system, but I will be pulling those going forward. We pulled pumps at Parkinson and Mill and the Oddfellows Pump Station. Both were cleared of the blockage. They were inspected, ran again, put them back in the hole, and they're pumping correctly. The mess that Wes referred to, what started out as an install between Avenue H and I on 10th, there's no main sewer line. The service line comes from the house to 10th. We located that. We were going to come in and put a clean out to give them some relief and help them along the way. In turn, the line is it comes to a shoulder line which travels back east to Avenue I. About 50 foot of that clay pipe was damaged. We ended up changing it completely. They were still closing up the hole when I came here. So it's only going forward. We're making those corrections. We went back with Schedule 40 pipe, so we shouldn't be visiting that again. And they had flow when the guys were there when we were leaving. So there are a couple other issues that we're addressing. During rain events, I know that's a thorn in a lot of people's side. I'm sure you're getting calls because the sewer's backing up and things like that. I'll just throw this number out there. On an inch and a half of rain, the recent rain last week, we took into the plant. We averaged 1.6, 1.7 on a dry day. We took in 10 million gallons. So there is some I&I that occurs in the city. The smoke project, the sewer rehab project we had, now I think it's been 4 or 5 years, believe it or not. A lot of those repairs have been done, but as they repair one, we'll find one, 2 or 3 weeks later. We are in the process of getting a more recurring smoke testing program going, but it does take time when you go into neighborhoods to smoke test. We can fix the public leaks. We can let the private people, the private leak, the people that have private leaks, we can let them know. We do get with Tony and let him push it on the private side. But it is an ongoing battle that we have in the wastewater facility. And that's all I have. If you have any questions.
Tim, I noticed on the median on East Hutchinson that there was some machinery. I know we did some drilling there to some pipes. Is there a problem there, or they just?
There was a main line during between I and J.
Right.
That entire sewer main there was replaced. That was done by contractors. They were they were notified that there is a dip where the ground has settled, and as far as I'm aware, they're coming in to repair that.
Yeah, that's what I had noticed also. I just wanted clarification that that's in fact what it was. That's what I'd seen as well.
Believe it or not, that's the only section of pipe from Eastern Avenue. There's a main line that, besides on East Hutchinson, it actually feeds Eastern Avenue. All of that pipe is lined. That section, 300 feet, was not. Why at that time, I don't know.
Okay.
But after that, after it leaves there, it's lined. The rest. So.
And it was still clay pipe, too.
Yeah,
It was clay pipe that was changed out there.
Right.
Tim, I have a question. At the intersection of I and East Hutchinson.
I and what?
East Hutchinson,
I and East Hutchinson. Okay.
going back west, I noticed a lot of utility marker flags were in the ground. Is something going to happen there?
It's not that I'm aware of. It wasn't our department, or as far as I'm aware, it wasn't a city.
It was in
So,
the median.
I saw them in the median, and then they're on the north side of the road.
Yes.
In that block. But I can go through the locates. I can let you know who filed that.
Okay.
I know that
Yeah, I
I've
just
seen them
wondered
out
if
there.
that was a part of your project. Thank you.
Okay.
Tim, the work orders that get called in for sewage backup on East Andrews and West Andrews, Does that normally happen after some large rains?
East and West Andrews is an ongoing battle.
Yes.
We have tried speaking with, they have a new manager there, and we've trying to work with her. They have new maintenance guys there. We've noticed more during heavy rain events, but on a dry day, if you look back, when the cold weather started, they've started having issues. And when we go to unstop them, a lot of grease, flushable wipes, more grease than anything recently. And we're not, when grease starts forming in the pipe, it doesn't happen all of a sudden. It starts coating the side, 4-inch pipe. It's gonna take 30 days to 60 days maybe to completely close it off. And when we're gonna go in and push that with a push tape, or sometime we have to bring the jetter, it's gonna open up as much as that little push tape will make it. Most of the time it clears the line, sometime it doesn't, we have to go back with the truck. But that is an ongoing battle. I have a note on my desk to speak with management tomorrow concerning that with the two maintenance guys. That is the only subdivision that the city goes into that assists them from the clean out to the main. Our other housing takes care of their own unless it's a main line. But they'll be educated tomorrow. That's on my list.
So-
I'll speak with them.
So Dickie, I'll tell you, if you passed through there recently, the oak trees look quite a bit different, as many do throughout our city. They asked if they could at least trim or cut down many of those oak trees. And I'm sure Mr. Crater will tell you that that's a big issue at sewage, is the oak trees. But also the drainage, storm drain there, it's a huge issue with the oak trees, as there's so many of them. And they were told that, or they told Wesley, they said that they were told that there's a city ordinance against cutting the trees down. And so I told Wesley, I said, there certainly is. There's a city ordinance that protects the live oak trees. However, there is a clause in there that says, in a few different words than I'm gonna put it, but if it causes issues with infrastructure, drainage, sewage, roadways, foundation of your home, if it causes issues, then it can be removed. And so all of those oak trees and shady oaks causes issues all year long. And I told them that they can do whatever they want to do with those trees. And while I was in the office telling her that, one of the residents was in there and she says, "Can you start at my house?" Because she says that tree is terrible. But they have been causing trouble for years and years. They were beautiful. They're not anymore. Because especially the ones with power lines over them. But I suspect that the owners of that neighborhood will begin to eradicate most of those trees coming up. And that'll be a breath of fresh air for both drainage and sewage, because it'll stop a lot of those problems. Yeah, we had to, the street department did meet with the managers of the complex and express to them that when they have their lawn service come over and cut grass, that they are not to blow the leaves into the storm drains or the road, that they need to blow it back into the grass or pick them up, because those storm drains, we haven't tackled them yet, but it's going to be an issue when we get to it. It's going to take weeks for us to clean out those storm drains because they have been stopped up for years. And it's all, when we're going to pull it out, it's going to be acorns and leaves and decayed acorns and leaves that have actually turned into topsoil. If anybody wants some free topsoil, go dig out the catch basins in Shady Oaks and you'll have it. But yeah, those trees cause a lot of trouble there.
Anything?
Thank you very much,
thank you.
Tim, appreciate it. Anybody have any questions about that? Next, we'll hear from the city engineer, Tim Mater.
Not for long. I have no action items, again, but can answer any questions you have about the report as written. I would like to add to something that Tim just mentioned, and that was what happens when we fix a defect in a sewer line, and then there's another one that crops up nearby. And the reason that happens is because you have the old clay lines that the mayor just mentioned. It's brittle material. It's probably 100 years old, 50 to 100 years old. And we go and find defects in the line that are allowing water in. And we fix those defects. Well, that has the effect of finding the weakest spot between manholes that didn't break yet. But now that you've patched it, you're actually causing another defect somewhere else. It almost tells us why are we spending money? It's grant money. It's been in the past, but why are we spending money fixing leaks when that phenomenon is basically going to happen again? And the answer to that question is, permit-wise, we have to show EPA, DEQ, that we're attempting to accomplish something. There's nothing else that's affordable. You have 80 miles, let's say, of sewer lines, and if you were to change out all that clay pipe, you would spend more money than you could ever imagine. It's millions and millions of dollars that it would take to change your sewer lines between manholes, 80 miles of it. We're doing the best we can, as all South Louisiana communities are doing. You're not alone in this. I think that's why EPA and DEQ lays off of us, because if they don't lay off of you, then they've got to bring every Crowley, Rain, Kaplan, Abbeville, Opelousas, every community has basically the same soil, the same old system, the same brittle clay, the same dilemma of you want to fix the leak, but you cause other leaks. There's not much way around it, and I know you get complaints from people who see overflows, and you wonder why it's happening. I think my brief explanation tells you that it's almost an unsolvable problem because there's not enough money to solve it. So just thought I'd bring that up.
Yeah, and I had a call, a complaint the other day on someone that, and they actually posted it on Facebook of the sewage cleanout cap overflowing into the ditch after the rain. And they said, the sewer department showed up and they opened the manhole and saw the sewer main was full, and they gave me the same excuse: the pumps can't keep up. And they said, well, if the pumps can't keep up, why we don't fix the pumps? Well, the pumps are operating at capacity. They're doing the job that they're designed to do. But like Mr. Crater just said, instead of 1.7 million gallons of water in a day, those pumps had to pump 10.5 million gallons of water in one day. And the system is not designed for 10.5 million gallons of water, so it does back up. We had some of the lines videoed today, and clay pipe, cracks in it, and roots growing into the clay pipe. Like Mr. Mater says, if you fix that, once we're going to fix that section, the next section, those roots are going to go find that crack because you didn't close this one up, and they're going to look for the water. Our oak tree roots are what were in those pipes. So those pipes were cleaned out. There's a tool that cuts the roots out, and it's all cleaned out. Buys some more time, gives us time to prepare, and and get those lines fixed. But I, what that stands for is inflow and infiltration. And there's a lot of infiltration of rainwater throughout the city. So the sewer department does a fantastic job working closely with Mr. Mader's office. There's a lot more to it than just pumping sewage to Conrad Road over there, but they do a great job at trying to keep up with all this stuff. So I tell Tim and his guys thank you all the time, because they're always out there working on it.
Definitely so. Thank you, Tim and Tim.
Years ago, Tim, didn't you mention that even, and I know they'll never fix all of the cracks because they keep occurring, but even with those cracks being fixed, the manholes themselves, if the road is flooded, the water goes straight in the manholes through the little holes in the manhole. And you're getting a lot of water in the sewer system through that. Because I know years gone by when Parkinson would flood all those manholes, you could see the water bubbling, and it was just steady draining in there. Not that it's meant to do that, but that's what it does, you know. So.
And Mr. Crater mentioned the private side. It's important to remember that we need to make sure that on our side, the clean out caps are closed, you don't dig a ditch through your yard to the clean out cap to drain your yard. That's not helping the sewer system. You dig a ditch through your yard to the road ditch to drain your yard. But believe it or not, we see it all the time. They find them all the time. Or if you run over it with the lawnmower and the clean out cap breaks, all of those 4, some 6-inch clean outs are just flowing rainwater into them when it rains. And that is a big, big issue on the private side also. So.
Okay, thank you. Is there any more discussion? Everybody good? There's no action items to be presented from your report, Tim? Yeah, correct. Oh, and if there's no further discussion, the committee will close.
Thank you, ma'am. Recreation, Alderman Lochley, please.
Thank you, Mayor. The Recreation Committee convenes. We have a quorum present. Under reports, we'll ask Recreation Director Zach Dion for his monthly report.
Good evening, everyone. So currently we're in the middle of our, our basketball season. We had 17 teams sign up this year, and we have games going on for the next 3 weeks until February 5th. As well as JMU basketball has one final home game on February 1st at MLK. As soon as our basketball season winds down, we'll start up with baseball and softball. The registration is open now through February 16th, and our opening day will be on April 5th. And our middle school baseball and softball leagues have already started practicing. We actually have 6 of our 9 fields being used by our middle school leagues tonight. So it's exciting seeing the lights on when I'm heading over here and those fields being utilized. We have 34 teams between baseball and softball signed up, not just from Acadia Parish, from Jeff Davis, Calcasieu, St. Landry. We've got a lot of teams from outside of the area as well who are signed up. And then 3 weeks from now, February 14th through 16th, we'll have our first tournament of the 2025 season for 2D with baseball, and that'll be 8 fields for 3 days. We're expecting 50 to 60 teams, and so that will kick off our tournament season, which you all know, we'll go from February until August. So getting ready to get ramped up, but we're excited to, be doing a lot more right now. Like Wes said, grass has slowed down, maintaining parks and whatnot, but our recreation leagues with baseball and softball will get started and pedal to the metal. So,
Okay.
yes, ma'am. Yes, so tonight, Tuesdays and Thursdays. Normally it would be Tuesdays and Thursdays until 8 p.m. On both sides. But what we did instead was we have 4 different games that'll be on the larger side. So we've minimized it to 1 court. We do have 1 court on the small side that remains open until 8 p.m. on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
And for those who didn't hear, that's pickleball.
Excuse me, I'm sorry, my voice still isn't back yet.
And Zach, I want to mention the lights at, behind the MLK that we've
Yes,
been
sir.
having problems with. Looks like they're working properly now.
Yes, sir. So,
finally.
yes, it only took a couple of months, but we got in touch with the right people, and thank you for being persistent about that.
Well, it's a team effort.
Yes, sir, absolutely.
All right. I understand that the ice skating and the fun jumps were a success.
Yes, sir. And I was actually speaking to somebody about that today. We replaced the toilet lid, and I said, it was a very positive thing that there wasn't a whole lot of restroom supervision during that time. It was an entire month. We had no graffiti, no vandalism or anything like that on our tennis courts, in the restrooms. It was a great turnout. I know they said over, was it 3,000 or 4,000? 5,000. Not registrations.
Waivers.
Waivers
Yes.
signed. And, a lot of people from City Hall, as well as some of the guys at the rec were out there, and a lot of volunteers. And I know Chad's talked about that on Facebook as well, but
Washing the tennis courts, how's that coming?
that will begin tomorrow at 8 a.m. Yes.
So the tennis courts will be what they're called soft washed, but a pressure washer basically to clean the slabs of those tennis courts.
Yeah, so they'll come in with a microbial agent that'll kind of agitate it, and they'll soft wash, and they come in with a sealant that'll help the longevity of the clean. So they'll do that between tomorrow and Thursday. So all 6 of our tennis courts at Gladiator Hall will be brand new cleaned. So, and we'll make sure we get before and after pictures of that as well.
Okay, any other questions for Zach? Okay. Thank you,
Thank
Zach.
y'all.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. City Engineer Tim Mater, anything? Nothing there? Okay, no action items. With no other business to come before the Recreation Committee, committee recess.
Thank you, sir. Zoning annexation, Alderman Reggie.
Thank you. I'll start off with Mr. Tim Mater, please.
Once again, you spared my bloviation. I have nothing to report. No action items.
All right, I have no action items and no discussion items. I will recess early.
Thank you, sir. Alderman Core for Public Safety.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to open the Public Safety Committee. All members are present except Chuck Ashby. And before we begin, I'd like to amend the agenda to include an application for the renewal of a 2025 Class B beer and liquor permit for South Crowley Pantry located at 904 South Parkinson Avenue. And I so move. And we have to have a roll call vote of all members of the committee.
Alderman Core,
Yes.
Alderman Wilridge. Alderman Reggie. Alderman Dory. Everybody says yes.
All right, we'll begin with reports, first by Chief of Police Troy Hebert.
Okay, I have 2 reports to give you. The first one's December's numbers. The month of December, our office answered 649 calls. Traffic violations, they issued 117. And in the traffic enforcement detail, they issued 782. Criminal arrests, there were 33. I've also, one of the sheets I gave y'all too, I compared our first year to our second year. I broke it down by the monthly average. If y'all looking at it, simple assaults, we averaged 15.4 last year, and this past year we averaged 11.8. It's we had a reduction, which is great. It's 23% lower. Aggravated assaults and batteries, we averaged 11 a month in 23, and in 24, 7.7, which is a 30% reduction there also. burglaries. We were averaging 15 to 16 burglaries in 23, and in 24 we averaged 6. So that's a 60% reduction, which is huge. I've never heard of those kind of numbers before, having that big of an impact on the size city we are. We're hoping to maintain some of that. Property damage, we averaged 8 calls in 23, and this year is 7. It's a 12% reduction. Sexual assaults, 1.8 in 23, and 1 in 24, and that's a 44% reduction. Other sex offenses, 2.1 on 23 and 1.3, which equals a 38% reduction. Robberies, if you look, 29% reduction in robberies. Stolen vehicles, 17% reduction. Thefts, we hadn't got too big. It is a reduction, but it's definitely nothing to brag about. And there's some things we're putting into place, and some that we're going to bring up here shortly. We're looking at raising the fines. The misdemeanor theft is $50, is a minimum $50 fine. What we're going to be proposing a little later is increasing that fine money, and also to add restitution in there. Restitution is important, and I'd also like to see that the victims get their money first. We could put that into law to where city court collects the money, they collect the restitution first, and if they don't collect it all, the victim gets their money first. And then if they collect it all, then the courts and the city will get their money afterwards. But to make sure our victims get repaid, that should be in there. There's other things, that's going to help. I've also, we still 5 short right now at the department as far as for personnel that's not released yet. And we still short 2 openings. So we 7, so that's almost 2 people per shift we're down. So we were still able to produce these kind of numbers even shorter with the shortage going on, which is really great numbers. But I really feel comfortable that these numbers are going to continue to go down as soon as we get everybody trained and turned loose on the road. So I'm very excited about that. A lot of that has to do with, y'all stepping up, giving our guys a raise to keep them from leaving, and also to recruit new officers. Man, I couldn't have done it without y'all's help. I'm also assigning one guy to do misdemeanor follow-ups, and hopefully we'll get a little reduction there too. So a lot of times when they make those reports with us, they may learn something about a neighbor heard something, and then they never call us back and relay that information. So I'm going to assign a guy to follow up on those misdemeanors and see if we can't get some more done in that. And he's going to have a few more extra assignments, but I've been wanting to do it, but because of the shortage, we were unable to do it. We did it many years ago, and it seemed to have worked great. It's something I'm definitely looking at trying to bring back. But shortage really affect us. And, it's still short today, but we were able to have really good numbers. But I think by next year, we should be able to pick those numbers up. These people, that are committing these thefts need to be held accountable. Us going out there issuing them a citation and release them is not holding them accountable. And there's things that we can do, raising the fines, going after it more aggressively, and, bringing back the jail. I kind of touched on that a few times. I don't know if I said it openly in here, but I would like to get our jail going back, start holding some of these people accountable. When they commit a theft or something like that, we book them into our jail, and then they would have to post a bond. But if they were unable to post that bond, they would have to sit there to the court date. So that would be a whole lot holding them better accountable than just issuing them a citation and letting them go. did meet with the mayor, and we looking at, getting some prices on building materials and stuff like that for that, building we were talking about adding on to move our evidence into. Weapon offenses, we're down 29%, which is great. I'm hoping to get that number down a lot more, you know, especially, since we're putting, more officers are gonna be riding by themselves and out there on the street, so we should be able to really attack some of these good. And another ordinance too is to, raise the fine with the, discharging of a firearm. The most we can raise it is $500, and I'd like to see us bring it to the max. If you're gonna fire a gun in the city, we need to hold them accountable. And, you know, $50 or whatever it is just not enough to hold somebody accountable for, discharging a firearm. Our DWIs, we have increased there. You see 207%. Some of the training that the new guys went through, they became intoxilizer certified, eye nystagmus, different things. So you can kind of expect that number to continue to rise. But that's probably a good thing because they're out there working, getting the drunks off the street. Controlled substance, I'll touch on that a minute too, is down. That's not actually a good thing being down because that's the cases that we worked. You see it's a little low, and a lot of that is due to shortage, but we had pre-planned for that. I knew what I was coming into. I met with the sheriff here, and we come up with a plan where he put together a street crime unit to assist us in the city, and they focused a lot in our city to help us with that because we knew with us being short, we wasn't able to deal with that issue like I was hoping to. But we knew that with the shortness that we were facing, we just didn't have the manpower to assign to do that. Well, first of the year, we put 2 people assigned to do street level narcotics, along with, we also gave some of the officers training in street level interdiction for patrol. It's starting to pay off now. You're gonna see that number get really high by next year. So expect that number. You know, like I said, we just assigned 2 guys to work strictly that. So those numbers are gonna really climb, and I think KP's gonna keep the pressure up also. You know, he's gonna keep some guys assigned to doing that. It's been working out really well, the way they worked it out over there, and he's really been an asset for us over here in the city, and I thank him for that. Homicides, unfortunately, we still had 2 of them this year. You know, it's very unfortunate. It felt like we were doing really good, and, you know, there's a lot of things that can be contributed to that. You know, we brought our DARE program back. We been doing a lot of things out in the community. We've been building a lot of trust. If something does happen, now we have a better communication with our public to where they come forward. They starting to trust us more, and you actually see it starting to work, starting to come together where they're trusting us, so they giving us the information that we need to make these arrests and stuff. So it's really been working good, and you see it across the board. You know, we've been declining so much, you know, as far as for the numbers. And you know, like I said before Rice Festival, man, we went a year and a half without a killing. That's great. You know, unfortunately, you can't brag even if you have 1 killing. You know, I mean, I won't be happy till we have none. Crashes, yearly crashes are down. They're down 10% for the year. You see, last year we worked 376, and this year is 340. That number I kind of expect to pretty much stay around the same right there. I don't know if we're gonna be able to get it much lower. You know, I think we got the reductions pretty much over the past several years. You've seen it decline a lot. So the 340 is kind of going back to many years ago, is where we used to have those numbers. So, very satisfied with those numbers, you know, and look, if we can improve, great, you know. The yearly calls you see is down. We had over 10,000 calls last year, and now we, you know, at a little bit over 9, so less than 1,000 calls, and you know all that stuff helps out when you work less wrecks, allows patrol to patrol more, which in return you see all the other numbers are reduced. The more police presence we have out on the streets, the better it is. It's been proven. I can prove it by every stat that we have. I can prove that officer presence is the main reason a lot of these numbers are where they at. But that concludes my yearly report. If there's any questions, also I'd like to add that their graduation's tomorrow, South Crowley at 9. If any of y'all would like to attend, we'd love to have y'all.
What graduation?
For the DARE program.
For the
Yeah, also, you know, we also put computers in the cars too, so now the guys aren't coming in the office. And that also allows them more time to patrol, so, or to be parked somewhere, you know. Sometimes you see these Facebook posts, oh, they working this, when really they park right there doing their report. But public perception, they think we working the stop sign, great, they stopping, you know. So we kind of get a 2-for-1, you know. The guy's sitting there knocking out a report, and they thinking we there working stop signs, so it's great, you know.
Well, thank you, Chief. Anyone have any questions for Chief?
I'd like to ask a question.
Alderman Marks?
I'm not on the committee, but I'm following your numbers. On demographics for the DUIs and the controlled substance and the crashes, or can you break that down within the city where you're seeing the most of these, like DUIs?
The DUIs are kind of all over. I don't know the specific locations on that, but I did look at the accidents yesterday, and I can definitely tell you Walmart's intersection is the worst intersection that we have in the city. The second one would be in front of Walmart, front of McDonald's, right there at that intersection. Not just that intersection, but right there at that road. A lot of people turn left to go into McDonald's. And the problem with that is there's no turning lane right there. So when they stop to turn left, they stopped in the roadway. And there probably should be a no turn sign right there, honestly. I don't know why DOT hadn't put one out right there, because, you know, they get these stats and they compare these numbers, and they should be able to see what I see. Also, underneath the interstate is the third worst in the city. We have a lot, and it's kind of all over right there. It's heavily congested. You have both interstates getting off. You got the intersection right there, 1111. So we get a lot right there too. And then the next one after that, I think, is around the curve on Highway 90 right there in the by that intersection. And then it breaks off from there. You know, there's several here and there. You'll get some at, you know, Second and Parkus, and you'll get, you know, a few different intersections, a few hot spots, you know, but those are the worst.
Okay, thanks. Also, controlled substance, do you have any data on where the drugs are flowing?
They're definitely flowing into the city, just like they are every other city. But, well, yeah, it's coming in from all over. But, you know, I mean, there's different forms and ways that they bring it in. But unfortunately, it's kind of all over. And we are putting a game plan together to deal with that. Like I said, next year we should have some really good numbers. I really do. You know, it was very hard when we were dealing with the shortage. You know, I kind of beat y'all up about that, how much it hurt us, and it truly did. And we 2 years in, and I'm still feeling the effects of that shortage that I talked to y'all about when we got that raise.
I see a lot of activity in a good way, I think, on I-10, apparently speeders and things. But there's still a lot of people coming in from I-10 into Crowley with those that are traffic violations, are you picking up on any of this controlled substance that make their way into Crowley?
Yes, we have got some on the interstate, I wanna say, they're putting the press releases together now for me, but we have got some, you know, making stops, coming in, you know, it's not, you'll have deliveries made here and there, and you'll have some local guys that distribute it. They may go to Houston, get it, they may, have a carrier bring it, you know, there's multiple ways that they get it in, and,
Do you have connections that are coming from the west that kind of preclude that people are on their way into this parish? Do you have the resources, police resources that know they're trafficking and they're headed this way, or what's the network?
yeah, sometimes you get information. I mean, I'm not gonna go too deep in it, but, you know, a lot of, you know, sometimes we do have informants that are out there that do tip us off about people bringing it or maybe selling it and stuff, and we run down those leads as much as we can. You know, we're gonna be able to run them a lot better now that we're close to fully staffed and fully trained and everything. I really look forward to the future. I truly believe our numbers are gonna get a whole lot better than what they are today. It's kind of hard to imagine it getting better than this, but I truly believe it will.
Thank you, Chief, appreciate it.
Anyone else have any questions for Chief? What, Step?
Okay. I apologize for being late. Next time I take through Turkey Creek like everybody else. Chief, I guess one of the main things is, and the questions that the councilwoman just asked you about, I have a lot of friends in the LBI over in Baton Rouge, and whenever I'm over there, they tell me, you know, certain things like the chief says, certain things they can't lead on to, but they laugh when you mention Crowley. They say, yeah, that's a stop for a lot of them. So kudos to you on that. Just in a short version, just give me the definition of suspicious activity, Chief.
I mean, you want to know the definition of suspicious activities?
Well, I mean,
That-
what y'all consider that would make y'all do 117? I got an idea, but just the short version of it.
So, are you going off that other page? I just want to see what you. Okay, yeah. So what this is right here, this is the complaints that we receive. Somebody may call in. Somebody, hey, look, got somebody walking over here. It's 2 a.m. Looks like they're up to no good. So stuff like that. It's not just drugs, but it's anything that looks out the ordinary that a citizen may feel uncomfortable seeing. And we encourage them to call. We want to go check it out, you know. Yeah, so anything like that is what that complaint is. And it was kind of a lot. We received 117
Well, that's
of them.
good.
But goes to what I'm telling you, you know, the public's trusting us more, so they calling us about stuff like that. Even though our call volume is down, you see those stuff kind of rise that, you really see us, getting trusted in the community where they don't mind calling us.
Well, that's a good thing, but, yeah, thank you. Thank you, Brad.
Sure, thank you, Step. Okay, we'll move on to the report by our Fire Chief, Louis Romero.
Good evening. So for December, the first page, we had a total of 56 calls. Of those calls, 8 were hazardous conditions, 24 was rescue and EMS, 11 false alarms. We had 0 fires in December.
Wonderful.
7 good intent calls, no severe weather, no overpressure rupture calls, and we had 6 service calls. For the month of December, our average response time was 2 minutes and 39 seconds. If you go to the last page, it's a recap of the Crowley Fire Department year. Out of those 674 calls we ran, 61 was hazardous conditions, 298 was rescue and EMS. That is up from the last 2 previous years. Me and the mayor has talked. I think last Friday, we had 4 EMS calls going on at the same time. Me and the mayor talked. We got 2 private ambulance companies that work in here. We don't mind assisting them, but for every truck to be out, tied up in an emergency, and a possibility of a car fire, a wreck, an extrication, a house fire, a fire alarm, that's going to, especially fire alarms and structure fires, if they can't respond because they're on scene, every truck was out, that affects our rating. So I think me and the mayor's gonna try to come up with something to address the EMS. In 2023, we ran 170-ish calls, and the time before we ran 190 calls. 298. So we need to address that. Fire alarms, 116, we had 48 fires where we actually pulled hose off the truck and flow water through the hose. It might have not always been a house fire, but it's some type of fire. Good intent calls was 73. Special weather, we had 4. Overpressure ruptures, we had 3, and service calls, we had 71. If you take all our calls that were responded to, including mutual aid, and when we got to run to Rain, and we had to run to Esterwood, and we ran to Eunice, our average response time was 3 minutes and 1 second.
That's
So
outstanding.
that's real good.
That's outstanding.
Any questions on our response times for the year and our calls? So, just give you an update. As of January 4th, for the second time since I've been chief, we are fully staffed.
Great.
2 guys started the academy yesterday. They postponed it. They were supposed to start Thursday because of the weather. They started yesterday. We got 2 guys in the academy, and they graduate sometime in April. Everybody knows we went to Bradenton, Florida. We did final inspection on the fire trucks. One of the trucks, we had 128 deficiencies, and on engine 2, we had 104, I think, 104 or 108. We met today to try to lower the cost of our, by signing a contract, we're trying to lower the cost of travel and also lower the cost per hour.
On a maintenance agreement.
Yes. When we have a problem and they gotta come, right now they're charging us $200 on a travel fee because they coming from Slidell, they coming from Harvey. They're gonna try to move us to Port Arthur, which is a little close, not much closer, but a little closer, and charge us $75 an hour. So if they in Alexandria, they're only gonna charge us like an hour and a half. But the most they're gonna charge is $200. So if we can lower our cost just a little bit at a time, you know, that's more money that I have to stretch my budget. The trucks are gonna be 6 to 8 weeks. You know, they got a lot of issues with the truck, and we pay for perfection. You know, a lot of paint issues, little small chips and stuff like that. Update on South Crowley. Probably South Crowley's renovations probably could be completed in probably another month. We'll be able to move back in, and then we're gonna start on North Crowley. The week of Christmas and the week of Christmas and New Year's, we got our reading packet. I sent the mayor a picture. We started working on that. I'm hoping to keep her too, you know. We did a lot of preparing and trying to go digital with different things for the rating to help the rating process go smoother. But I'm hoping to be able to keep her too. Other than that, we're getting ready for the weather coming in next week. We started getting ready with our stations, equipment, and trying to make sure we don't have any more breakdowns. Because that's all we've been fighting lately is fire truck breakdowns. You know, last week we had 2 trucks out, you know.
Sure, it makes a
So,
difference.
any questions?
And Chief, just to reiterate, all the punch list items you found on the new fire trucks, those weren't mechanical or functional problems?
So I would say probably 70% of them were paint, like chips or little small scratches. The bell on both trucks don't fit, so they have to remodify the way they put it on the truck. So they got to move it over to when you're looking at the front of the truck, they got to move it over to the left a little bit, the right a little bit, and they're gonna have to. So they got 4 holes. They're gonna have to weld it, sand it good to repaint it, reseal it, and then remount it. On engine 1, on the driver's side, if you got to remember I got pictures. If anybody wants to see pictures, we took plenty of pictures. We was literally looking at the paint job from this way and this way, up and down with flashlights to see any imperfections. The whole side of the driver's side on engine 1 is orange peeled. So when you look at it in the sun, it looks like an orange, the peeling of an orange. It's rough. Well, we didn't pay over $700,000 for these trucks for us to get orange peel paint.
Right,
You know, we want a showroom, and I understand, and the guys, and we talk, we understand it's a working truck. The first fire it goes to is gonna get a scratch. It's going, pulling holes, it's gonna get scratched. But we pay for showroom finish, we deserve showroom
Right,
finish.
and that's what I was getting at, is that the issues that you're finding are not something that's gonna be problematic to breakdowns or like mechanical
No,
issues.
like-
All
like-
of those things,
Like
checked
underneath,
out.
we literally got underneath the chassis on creepers. In fact, that was my job. I got underneath there with a flashlight, and we found like the insulation under the cab. It's all spray foam. Okay, they sprayed it, and then they painted it. Well, they had to shave some stuff off, and they didn't repaint it.
okay,
Well, over time, what's gonna happen? It's gonna flake off.
right.
And then there was, on engine 2, there was 2 voids, 2 squares that didn't have no spray foam at all. You know, these trucks are quiet. On the inside, they are quiet. They drive smooth, you know? New technology.
They're 20 years younger than the ones we're driving now.
I said new technology. You know, so it's gonna be probably another 6-8 months. 6-8 weeks. By the time they fix it, they ship it, it's going to Port Arthur. And then we got final inspection in Port Arthur, okay, to go over the punch list, to make sure everything, you know, one of the items on the punch list is we're missing a hose bed cover. You know, we was missing
A piece of a nozzle.
a piece of the nozzle.
It's not, yeah, it's not mechanical stuff.
It's all
It's,
stuff that can be fixed.
Sure,
You know,
sure.
we didn't find no engine trouble, we didn't find no transmission, because we test drove for probably 50 minutes. We took turns getting in and out of the truck, you know? We pump tested it.
Good.
We flowed water through it, you know? We checked all the lights, we checked the siren, we checked the rumbler, we checked the air horns, we checked everything. You know, it took 2 full days with 8 people.
Good.
So
I'm glad we didn't get the trucks here and then have to send them back, so it was
No.
well worth
that's
the
why they
trip.
do that.
So understand where we went to inspect these trucks is the actual manufacturer of the truck. It's where they actually built the truck. These trucks are built from the ground up. Every component, nearly every component. They build the cab, the frame, the chassis, the box. They literally build all of this stuff from sheets of metal from the ground up. And so where we went to inspect it is the manufacturer. And when it's brought from the manufacturer to Port Arthur, that's the dealership. So basically it's, Ford manufacturer and then Shetler Corley dealership, so to say. So the next stop is the actual dealership who sold it to the city. And then they want to make sure that everything we found was fixed by the manufacturer and that there's nothing happened between Florida and Port Arthur that happened so that it can be fixed again. So they are really, they're really adamant about making sure that the product that they're going to deliver, the final delivery here in the city, is as perfect as it could be. I want to commend those guys that went over there. I took the trip with them. Chief has taken the approach, for many years, both the fire chief and I spent many years in this department, and not many of the firefighters were involved in the day-to-day operations of the fire department. It was details and things that were never handed down over the years. It was always the fire chief that handled it, and no one else knew what was going on. And when that fire chief left, good luck to the next one. And so there was nobody to take that place, to take that role over. And of course, Chief and I, in our time in the department, was interested in all of the details, and we paid a lot of attention to it. And thankfully, he did also, and that helped him move into that role and do the job that he's doing. But he has a vision of retiring soon and handing it down to someone else maybe. And so he doesn't want the work that he's doing in this department to be lost to the next one because they don't know what they're doing. There's a lot that goes into it, the rating and learning, the makeup of fire equipment and gear and the trucks, and why do we need a 1500 GPM pump or a 1250 GPM? Why do we need 750 gallons? Why can't we put 200 gallons? Why do we need this many outlets? There's a reason for all of that stuff, and he's gotten some of the captains involved in a lot of these details, and so they help to spec these trucks out. We want this size tire. We want this brand tire. We want this brand and this model of engine in that truck, this pump, and all the way up to the colors and the decals and where the decals are placed, every detail. And so he wanted them to finish that process. And so those same 6 captains took the trip with us to Florida, and they meticulously inspected those trucks that they helped to build, and they're going to take ownership on it. And so I want to commend the chief for doing that, because it's important that someone can carry the torch when he's ready to go, and they know what's going on in the department and why these details are so important. So they took pride in it. They worked very diligently and hard to finish as soon as possible. The trip was planned until Thursday because we had enough people there to do it. We were able to thankfully come back Wednesday. It was a long road, but we made it, and it was a good trip. Lots of information there.
So one last thing, one of the issues we found on the truck, and it was I didn't know this. We requested tinted windows. Well, they don't put tint on the windows, not in the fire truck. The windows are smoked from the factory. Well, they put regular windows, and the decals was already on the truck. They came in, they removed the window, and put a smoke window, and instead of tinting the windows, because that's what I thought we was gonna get, it's
Tinted
smoked glass. Smoke tempered glass is what it is. So
great.
that's the difference between, you know, we could have got it here, and then I'd have just brought it to
A vendor.
Double L and put tint. But the reason why you don't do that on a fire truck is because if you expose that to heat, it starts bubbling, and then you can't see out of it.
That's right.
That's why it's smoke tempered glass. You know, there's always reasons. When it says fire, it costs more money. But that's the reason why they cost more money. Because there's an NFPA code somewhere that says it's gotta be this way, you know? So if there's no more questions, that's my report.
Thank you, Chief. Step?
Chief, I'm listening to everything you're saying about these, people. I've been around certain people like that. You know, they want to get the job done, they want to do their finishing touches. But basically, from what you're saying, is that the city of Crowley is paying for a brand-new used truck.
Brand-new truck.
Used truck, with all the imperfections and everything in it. You know, to me, I mean, that's what it sounds like to me. But, well, that's what I'm saying, that's what I'm getting to. If I would be in your case, in your shoes, I'll send somebody down there just as a surprise to see what's going on. You know, I mean, that's just me, okay? But, I mean, I'm like you. We paying top dollar, we want a top product. But all the little things that you just said, it dropped from brand-new showroom finish to where we took it out for a drive, and this is what happened. Okay?
But the step, so the reason why the final inspection is to catch why it's at the factory. So most, like I said, 70% of the problems was paint.
Okay.
When they gotta, like, engine one, they gotta repaint the entire top again of engine one, because you can't fix a scratch in a metallic paint, because there's no way to blend a metallic paint in.
Well, that's the reason.
So
I
they
agree with
gotta,
that.
they gotta strip the paint, sand it down, and repaint that entire top of that fire truck.
Yeah.
So when we get that fire truck, it's gonna be showroom finish. That's what I expect,
Okay.
and I know that's what the citizens expect, and that's what y'all expect, you know?
Well, I just want to make sure that we're on the same page with this, but like I said, before all this is done, had we taken it, without y'all going down there and doing the inspection, that's what it would have been considered as, a brand-new used truck.
No, I would have never accepted it,
Well, that's what I'm saying, so.
you know?
Well, you would think they'd take pride.
Okay.
The only thing they want to do is another number, let's get it off the showroom. Yeah, but anyway, Chief, do whatever you got to do, because I can assure you, people gonna be watching. You know, since all this came out, they're gonna be actually people that want to see where the scratch was and how did they finish it. So just be prepared.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, man.
Thank you, Step, and thank you, Chief. I appreciate it. Next, we'll move on to City Inspector Tony Duhon. Unfortunately, Tony had to sit with his mother at the hospital today and was unable to complete his report for me to provide you with. So then we'll move on to action items. The first action item is amendment to Chapter 1, Section 1-8, General Penalty. And the request is to change the minimum fine from $50 to $100, and I so move for consideration by the council. Seconded by Alderman Martin. Discussion. General penalty is basically some of the ordinances that we have, Steve, will refer to this section of the ordinance, minimum fine $50. So, and this will just kind of englobe all of those that don't have a specific fine attached to them, like in the criminal code. Sure. Okay, any other discussion? All in favor? Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Action item number 2, or amendments to Chapter 7 of the Criminal Code of the city ordinances for consideration by the council as listed, subject to review by the city attorney. These items are items A through CC, and I would like to make a motion to approve those in global as written on the agenda. That was seconded by Alderman Wildridge. Discussion? Oh, okay, right, so we need to go back on the first, okay. So Byron, we'll go back to item 1, and you will be second on that. Thank you.
I'd just like to get a clarification.
we'll go back
This
to
is
number
only
2.
to bring it to next week.
To council.
This is
Yes.
just bringing it to council.
Yes. Okay,
One thing, Brad, on the, G, it says $9.99.
yes.
Does that need to be changed to 500?
No, this would be the value of the item, which I think $1,000 is a felony. So anything below it, $1,000, it can be, that's the value of the item. That's not the fine, chief. The fine would be.
No, yeah, well, if it's, I didn't know if they were set at 500 to where you go with a state charge between 500 and 1,000.
And Mr. Landry can look into that for us. As I understand, it can be up to, but not to exceed 1,000 for the value of the item stolen. Mr. Reggie?
I guess I'm still trying to understand for G, that was where I had my question. So it's not considered theft, it's at $2.99?
No.
The felonies, so the state upped the felony. It used to be $300, it was a felony. Years ago, it was 100, but the state brought it up to 300. Well, now they brought it up to 1,000. So if you steal anything under 1,000, it's a misdemeanor.
And it stays here in city court.
But why does it say from 300? It should say from
Well, that's
$1.
$1
No,
is where I was
Mayor,
getting.
that's in the current ordinance.
Okay.
That's what the change is. The current
So-
ordinance has 300, and this will change that to $9.99.
So what happens if they steal something for $250?
Well, it's up to,
Not the way this is worded. But again, that's something that we'll let Mike
Right.
look into.
and I've
Yeah.
got the ordinance if you don't want me to read it, but.
Yeah.
I think we're on the same, like, so if, let's say, Mr. Dickey has something that's worth $200, I go steal it from him, it's under $300, so what's,
No, well, and the intent of the amendment is just to change the current number of $300 that's in our ordinance now to $9.99. Yeah,
Yes. So the current ordinance says 300. So he wants to change it from 300 to $9.99. So it's not,
from
yes.
$8 to $9.99?
Yes.
Okay.
anything
I'm just-
under $9.99.
We, I was
Under
understanding the
$9.99,
same
okay.
thing he was, that it was any cash value from $300 to $999 in that range.
Right.
But,
No, we change it.
got you.
Okay.
$9.99.
Yes. Mr. Lachele.
Thank you, Brad. If the full council approves these changes, does a public hearing have to be called?
Yes.
Okay, good.
yeah, it would change the ordinance, yes.
Okay, so we have a motion, a second. Any
I-
other discussion?
My only
Mr.
other
Reggie?
thing would be is the restitution part. I guess that wouldn't go for past things. I guess it would be moving forward. The restitution part?
I would think so, yes. Anything after the ordinance is implemented, then from that point forward. Go ahead, Step.
For clarification, I'm glad Mr. Reggie brought it up. So basically, if I were to go back to the 300, they stole a something valued at 300 from me. I would get my 300 back before it's applied to the fine?
Chief.
I can explain.
Go ahead.
Okay.
So if you had something that was worth 300 stole from you, and we caught who it was, and when they go to court, the judge would give them a fine plus restitution. So let's say she gives them a $400 fine and a $300 restitution. When she collects the money, they may pay in payments.
Right.
So if they pay in payments, the victim's gonna get their money first.
Yes, okay, I'm good with that.
I think that would be, I heard of others that, yes, correct.
Give me back what's mine and you get what's yours.
Right, and, our victims should get their money, first, yes.
Yeah.
But it would be nice if we put it in the law.
But what if it was an item valued at 300?
That, well, it's the cash value of the item.
But what if you get the item back?
But then then you're reimbursed. That's the
You can't have
restitution.
both?
Yeah. Restitution can be in the form of the item or the value.
I want my item plus the
Okay, finished. No more discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item number 3 is the amended agenda item, application for renewal of a 2025 Class B beer and liquor permit for South Crowley Pantry located at 904 South Parkson Avenue, and I so move for approval by the council. Seconded by Alderman Dorey. Discussion? Mr. Reggie will recuse. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Next, we'll have discussion items. The item for discussion we have is to discuss adding a four-way stop sign at the corner of North Avenue G and 9th Street, which was requested by Alderman Dorey. And I'll give you the floor if you want to give some background on that.
Thank you, Brad. I talked to the chief earlier. I do agree, Avenue G through the years has the amount of traffic and the side traffic cutting across town has increased a lot. And I find myself even going pretty fast down that road because the newer cars, you don't feel it, and you're avoiding Parkinson. And it's like you have several things down there, like Coos Hills, and then you've got the child welfare and the Scott Sibley and, different places. And they're also cutting across to go to Notre Dame, which is fine, and the doctor's offices. And I've nearly been hit a couple of times. I've gotten where I go on Parkinson now, but the traffic still is moving quite fast. And I was approached by someone, would you discuss it? And the chief says he's willing to get with his people and look at it real well. He has numbers on the number of accidents there and opposed to other areas. And he says he might give us a recommendation. Doesn't have to be four-way stop, but it could be whatever, if he decides it's something else, they might just sit there and do paperwork sometime, and slow people down. I remember years ago, and I'm just gonna point to Step. You can remember this, I'm sure, and you remember it when Step said, I'm going down Avenue G. And when I get going pretty fast, I'm almost leaving the ground. It's so bumpy. And the mayor says, don't say that. You're not supposed to go fast, But you tend to do that. It's a 9-block run, and it's something to maybe try and solve that little issue. It's whatever the chief would decide to do.
Yeah, and I just want to mention, I don't think that four-way stop signs should just be used for speeding. If chief finds that there've been accidents at a certain intersection along that, by all means, for issues like that. Otherwise, everyone that has a complaint of speeding along a stretch of road in the same number of blocks is going to want four-way stop signs. And I think chief can look into this and give us more of a basis for having the sign installed or some type of feature other than just speeding, because his unit should be out there patrolling if that's the case, alone.
Thank you.
You bet. Thank you, Jeff.
Yeah.
Okay, any other items to come before the committee?
Brad, we got down to, on these amendments to, our ordinances, to G. What happened to the other 16 or 17?
They were all introduced, as they indicated on the agenda, 2A through, CC. They were all introduced as they appear on the agenda.
So we're not gonna do line item by line item?
No.
Is. and
It's basically everything within section 7 of the criminal code.
Yeah. It was a vote for
Okay.
item 2A through CC. And all was approved.
So we can go through them again next week, line item by line item?
If you want to discuss them between now and next week, that's your chance to do that. I don't know that this council wants to go through all of those independently and vote on them, unless there's some that, I mean, y'all are welcome to, but if there's, I would suggest that if there's a handful, or unless you have a problem with all of them, I would suggest that you would bring up those that are an issue with, that you have questions on, and vote on those separately. But it would be, I mean, we can.
Yeah, I'm just questioning
week.
whether some of them need to be there at all.
Oh, you mean as in law?
Yeah, there's things on the books that, I mean,
And that's why I have it subject to review by our city attorney. So by the time next week comes around, we will have Mr. Landry's input as well.
As far as the ones you feel might not be necessary, it's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it.
Yes.
such as palm reading and tarot cards and,
Oh, yeah, big problem.
Fortune telling. Yeah.
darn it, what are we gonna do for the new things downtown? Sorry, Hank.
No fortune telling.
Thank you, Katie. Okay. Nothing further, Step. Well, these are all under the criminal code, chap. It's on.
It's not on.
Thank you, Chief. I mean, Jay. But when you go from the, up to $1,000 or what have you, it starts another, conversation right there. So if you would
It's a
take-
completely different type of
Right.
offense too.
Well, that's what I'm saying, right. But if you're gonna do a line item, put all the ones that's going from 50 to 150 in one line item and so forth and so. You follow what I'm saying?
Right, the only reason I broke them out, Step, because they are specified in the ordinance as each
As
section.
is.
Yeah, I mean, that's no
Right.
complaint about that. But, since it was brought up about, each one of them, I think if you take the more expensive ones and, I mean, battery on the police officer, resisting the officer, going from 50 to 250, to me,
I
that
think
should
her
be-
question was about the palm reading.
Well, I mean, palm reading is something.
And do we even need it?
Well,
But
actually,
yeah.
there's one on there in Gambling.
That's a required taste.
Yeah.
Right there, if you want your palm read.
Yeah, no
So
gambling.
there goes the video poker.
No,
That's gaming.
no. Public gambling. And I'll drive you around town again and show you some public gambling.
Okay.
I've exposed you to other things around the city. I'll show you some public gambling and what that offense is talking about.
Well, with that being said, see, we're missing out on a good moneymaker. I was meeting with a few people where they had approved to legalize gambling with the, football and everything, and nobody in Acadia Parish has it, that I know of. Anybody know? Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, that's,
you can do it on apps and stuff.
well, even
Yeah.
to that point, you know? We could put one in City Hall.
It'd be a good money maker. Let's
Yeah,
go.
I'm serious, man.
Mr. Corey, anything else?
But anyway, I just want to put it, we
Right.
can break it down to the more,
Okay,
I don't have any problems with it like it is, but
Yes,
just
sir.
for FYI, you got a lot of people out there that may look at this and frown upon it.
All right.
They're called,
Right. And-
trying
and
to get everything out in one time.
Right, and just as Chief mentioned, these are not a money-making thing these are efforts to deter these
well-
type of criminal activities from happening. For instance, somebody goes to the store and steals $300 worth of something,
Right.
and they get charged $50 if they get caught. Well, they're still ahead.
Right.
You know,
But urinating in public, that should be 500.
Well, yeah, we can,
Easy. All right, moving
all
on.
right. Well, that's all I have, Mayor, and the
Thank you.
committee recesses.
Thank you, sir. Let's see, public buildings, Alderman Wilridge, please, sir.
Public buildings convened Tuesday, January 14, 2025 at 5 p.m. in the council chambers. We had a quorum that was present. On the action items, there was none. Does anyone have any discussion items? The city engineer, Mr. Tim Maynard?
Yeah, Mayor,
Do you
Maybe-
have the information on it, or you want to just bring it up next week?
I'd say, bring it up as approval of a partial payment estimate for Prestige for the pavilion, the amount to be provided at your,
We have to amend the agenda.
right. I think it's better to do that, otherwise you would need to bring it up as an agenda item next week.
Next week, yeah. I think we're good. It's a partial payment, it's got to be paid.
Yeah, you can trust your
We'll
architect.
bring it up next week, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Tim. There being no other things come forward, public buildings, we recess.
Thank you, sir. Insurance and Personnel, Alderwoman Marks, please.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. The Insurance and Personnel Committee convenes. We do have a quorum, and the purpose of this meeting will be consider any reports, which we have none, or any action items, which we have none. Is there any discussion for personnel and insurance? Anyone? Anyone? If not, the committee rests.
Thank you, ma'am. Community and Economic Development, Alderwoman Chasson.
Thank you, Mayor. The Community and Economic Development Committee will come to order, and there is a quorum present. A few things that I want to remind you of. From the tourism director for the city, Rice on Ice was a tremendous success with over 5,000 young people and adults enjoying the opportunity to participate with this at no charge. We again want to thank our generous sponsor and the many volunteers who have assisted with this holiday activity. Going forward, Valentine Date Night will feature Kobe Lachele and Ambush at the Rice Theater from 7 until 10 p.m. on Friday, February 14th. Cheap date night, admission is $10 per person.
Brand new sound and lighting. Come and check it out.
There you go, Valentine's. Crowley Main Street. The Friends of Main Street Celebration is a celebration honoring local businesses, volunteers, and sponsors for their contributions to the revitalization of downtown Crowley. That's going to be Friday, January 31st, 7 to 9 p.m. at the Rice Festival Building. RSVP is required, and Hank will probably talk more about that in a moment. From the Acadia Parish Chamber of Commerce, July 16th is the Farmers Appreciation Dinner at the Rice Festival Building. Social hour begins at 5:30. Dinner will be served at 6:30. On January 30th, from 5:30 until 7:30 p.m., Acadia Parish Tourist Commission will host business after hours. The Chamber is proud to have recently signed a contract with Placer AI, a company that has the ability to translate foot traffic and behavioral patterns into actionable insights that can enhance the Chamber's role in promoting economic development, supporting businesses, and strengthening community ties. The City of Crowley will have access to these reports and information through a cooperative endeavor agreement with Crowley Main Street. So we're looking forward to that. The Crowley Garden Club met today and announced that Arbor Day will be celebrated this Friday, January 17th at 10 a.m. with a tree planting at Mobley Field behind the Crowley Kindergarten. And they're excited to announce that 2 trees will be planted And as I understand it, they're large oaks, about 8 feet tall at this moment. They will grow to be very beautiful, so we're excited about that. Love the Boot will happen April 5th through the 12th, and we will be working on some activities to again clean up the city and prepare for the Cleanest City Contest. We won our district last year. We did not win state, so we will be looking to regain that title this year. So you'll be hearing more about that in the future. The West Crowley Beautification Board awarded one block of West Hutchison Avenue the Yard of the Month for January. This group continues to work in keeping Crowley, with special emphasis on West Crowley, clean and presentable. And for the West Crowley Historic Cultural District Committee, Mr. Anthony Clemon and his group continues to look for funding for signage designating this historic cultural district. I know they've applied for some grants, and they're actively looking for matching funds to match some of that grant money. So those are the reports. The discussion items, there are no action items at this time. Hank Capel, the Assistant Director with Crowley Main Street, will present a report. Before that, though, Brad, you have a question?
Yes, so, item 6, Historic District Committee. Is this committee active? And the reason I ask, I've got a concern from a constituent in the historic district about a metal warehouse building that was constructed, and according to the ordinance, before that structure can be approved by a permit, it is supposed to go in front of the Historic District Committee to make sure that it conforms with the architectural features of the historic district. And I haven't been able to get anything from Mr. Duhon as far as.
It's supposed to have a COA from the board, and it doesn't.
And
It was just done.
so I don't even know if it had a permit, and if the construction's
have a
continuing.
permit,
Yeah.
But it didn't go before the board, because I'm on the board, and it
Yeah.
didn't go before.
Brad, I think, I'm gonna just be honest with you. I think the breakdown came from the permit office, because, and I'm still trying to figure all that out, but the historic district does not know. The historic district, in my opinion, needs to be told that they've got an application. The permit department should, in this situation, should say, okay, you want to build this, it is at this location is within the historic district. Then, guess what? You got to fill out this application to get permission from the historic district, or they have to review it. And I think that's where it didn't happen. Now, I'll tell you that the owners actually messaged me and said, but it was a metal building before. It wasn't the same metal. It was tin, basically, and falling down. So they're like, we put another metal building. Then obviously, I don't know anybody who wants to build a building with roofing tin. The old I don't know what it's called. Tin. I call it tin.
Corrugated galvanized.
Whatever that is. And so they built it with upgraded, I guess, modern metal. And she said, she also mentioned, and I didn't look, but I don't think I need to look, but I will look, that they were told they were not in the historic district. They were on the edge of the historic district. But I'm pretty certain that the historic district line takes in Second Street on both sides of Second Street. So they are certainly in historic district.
And certainly I'm not opposed to someone building a storage building, but just like our gateway ordinance, where the school board built the refrigerated building, they had to have a brick facade,
On one
and this
side,
building
yes.
could have been, use of some lumber or hardy plank
Sure.
siding painted to.
On one side if they need it,
Right.
whatever, yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
so I think that those things need to go, if we're gonna have a historic, district committee, in accordance with the ordinance, those things definitely need to be considered.
I'm gonna say that, I'm gonna say that this is another hole in the net that I've found,
Sure.
that we need to repair,
I
certainly.
appreciate it, Mayor, thank you.
I just want to add this. Historic district accounts to the state, and you can lose that status. And if you lose that status, you're going to lose funding that comes from the state.
Absolutely.
And as of now, they haven't done an audit. Well, they did an audit a while back, remember? The city paid a little bit for
Yep,
that.
yep.
They haven't done an audit in a while, and when they come, they're gonna see that, and they're gonna know that it wasn't there before. Now, they may say something, they may not, but if it keeps happening,
Yeah.
they will pull that funding, your ability to get that
Yes,
funding.
absolutely.
And it's something that, it's just like you said, they needed to notify the appropriate people, you know?
The residents needed to be, the property owner needed to be notified. They needed to, we, the city, needed to let the property owner know, wait, you have to go through some more steps to do this, to get
Right.
this approved.
Yeah, I find that it's all, I don't understand it, that certain areas, when you come in and say, well, I want to do whatever, I mean, we know, or we should know at the front desk what they need to do. They're not going to know what they need to do. The average person doesn't look into that.
Oh, absolutely not.
That's kind of what we have people there for, is to tell them what they need to do.
Right.
And it's just falling through the cracks in
Right.
certain places, you know? It's not always, but.
No, I'll tell you, a lot of the front desk people are newer employees, but this certainly falls on code enforcement or
Yeah.
permits, because again, it should. And it's just like, Hank's gonna come up and talk about Main Street stuff. We go all over the place. All of you go to the different conferences, and I guarantee you hear it too, that our downtown Main Street area district is second to none. I mean, we get rave reviews on how nice our downtown is. People literally come to our city to shop and see our downtown.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned Hank, because Hank built a building, he had to almost stand on his head to get it done.
Well, and yeah,
I mean, they ran him
Yeah.
through the mill.
He
and
did.
And
He did.
I'd see him in the morning, I got where I had to almost avoid him, because it was like, damn it, you know?
But
I
you're
want my
right,
building.
to get
And
these recognitions,
He did get his building done the right way, though.
there's
Mayor,
rules
I
and
wanna,
regulations
say,
to follow.
because that's buildings on my block, and it looks a lot better than what was there before.
It does, and
And
it's tough
they
to
put
argue
in-
that point, that
They
they've
put
done.
in a nice back patio.
It is very nice.
They put in a nice whatever it is, but it's, in the driveway, it looks a
It's-
lot better.
They did a fantastic job there, but
They fell through the cracks
Yes.
because they weren't informed, and,
Yes.
I thought maybe I should put one up, but
well,
I'll
we'll
get
make
one.
sure that you have the proper paperwork.
So, yes, I'm sorry, yes, Step.
It ran out of gas. That means his time's up.
That's it. Batteries. Yes. I'm gonna have to let Brad tell you, because I'm not sure. But
it's on the corner of K, L, and Second. It's L, it's between K and L on Second Street, on the corner of L and Second
Okay.
Street.
All right, the reason why I'm asking, because like Brad and also Jeff just mentioned, just thinking back at our last meeting, we gave a man hell for trying to better the community with a daycare. What's good for the gander is good for the goose, okay? Now, somebody gonna be at fault. I don't know how you look at it, but somebody gonna be at fault at this. Now, do we move forward, or do we circle the wagons and say, you know what, we're just gonna let this go, but we'll do better in the future, which can be done, you know, but I'm just saying, well, I mean, but that's the whole idea of understanding what you're supposed to do and getting it done before you come to us well, I done all this, you know, and I'm not trying to point out the daycare, but, you know, I had a lot of people ask me about that, you know, and I told them like what it was. It was miscommunications and whatever. But at the end of the day, with this being in the historical district, people look at that. You know, just like you said, they drive to Crowley just to ride through it or whatever it may be. So I think in the future we need to, whomever is in charge of that department, he or she needs to be more diligent in how they handle it, because that's a black eye on the city.
Yeah, I think we have some issues here of maybe it's time to educate the community once again in those areas of what the process, the procedure is. It's just like on January 23rd, we had a special meeting here to approve a permit for an owner that we didn't know. Or had they not had that renewal, they'd have had to shut down their liquor business. But we as a council came, so I know the mayor had said he was gonna put everybody on notice, don't let that slip through again. This is a courtesy that we're doing on January 23rd, Monday night.
December 3rd, 23rd.
December, to allow you to operate your business. So the people who said we didn't know, we need an educational process to say if you're going to do this, like if I'm going to put in a nice concrete driveway on my corner, which is opposite of that corner, and a new utility room, I need to do the permits. And it has to be approved by the ordinances from the historic district to advise what we can and cannot do, and then get the proper permits. Because, so to speak, the horses are leaving the barn, and it's not being corrected.
Well, I've always been on the side of this council need to meet twice. I've always been weary of the fact that you got to wait 30 days, you know, to get legal stuff done, because in 30 days a lot of things happen, a lot of things. And calling a special meeting, because I'll be honest with you, there had some people who, that was pretty ticked off with that. Y'all went in that meeting for 2 minutes, you understand? And it was a tournament of, if it would have been for someone else, would have, you know, you follow what I'm saying? And, you know, it kind of got me kind of riled up, but after talking to them, I understood what they were saying. I know, because I had to leave early from what I was doing to get over here. Okay? So, I mean, that's something in the future that we need to look at, Mayor. Just having, most little towns like, well, y'all heard what's going on in Bogalusa, but that's, I got to be there next week. It's total rat race over there. But if we can, we need to look into that, yeah?
Yeah.
So just FYI.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Okay, at this point, Hank Capel has waited very patiently to tell us a little bit more about Main Street.
Wake up, Hank.
Hank Capel is the Assistant Director of our Main Street program, doing an outstanding job.
All right, our illustrious mayor and city council, I gave y'all an impact report on what this thing on. Y'all should have in front of you an impact report of some of the facts that, some of the things that we've done during the year. So I'm not gonna make this meeting go on any longer than it has to. It's, I did learn something that now my fortune telling and palm reading business that I was gonna open, I'm gonna have to stop. I was getting ready to promote one of these empty buildings and, you know, try to make a business plan for that. We list a lot of the things that we're gonna be doing on the second page next year. And if you look on the last page, it shows our proposed event dates. The Sip and Stroll the sock hop, Kids Day, Halloween and Christmas, and the Halloween parade and the Christmas in Crowley. Those are the days that are highlighted in yellow, and we will be closing Main Street. We ask your permission to close Main Street on those days. We also would like our open container law temporarily rescinded for the sip and stroll and the sock hop. Those two, which there'll be, and possibly the Halloween parade, which will just be golf carts. And that'll be, adult beverages may or may not be served during that time. Some mocktails too, but some people might slip something in there, I'm not sure. So at this point in time, we appreciate y'all's help in everything y'all have done, and want to make sure that you're all know that you're invited to our awards, our little awards and thank you banquet on the 31st of January at the Rice Festival building. We will have wine, beer, I think crawfish fettuccine is what we're going to be serving, and awards. And we just want to thank all of y'all for everything you've done, and we would appreciate your consideration in completing this, in approving this, our year's work. Thank you.
We can put that on next week's agenda.
Do we need to vote to put it on the agenda, or we can
No.
just put it? Okay.
Do I have to come back next week?
You don't have to.
You don't have to, we'll just.
But you're welcome to.
We'll let you know. Again, as the mayor said, our Main Street program is something that is the envy of the entire state, and we're very proud of that.
Real quick, I wanna explain to y'all what the what's that program called? With the cell phones.
The
Data.
Yeah, hold on. It is called Placer AI.
Placer AI.
Placer AI.
Just to give you an idea of what that does, so everywhere, believe it or not, some people believe it more than others, but everywhere you go, your cell phone is in your pocket. When you leave your house, now, it's not going to tell us that you left 517 East 3rd Street and you went to 425 North Parkerson. But it's going to show that I left that area of the city and I went to this area of the city, and then maybe I left this area of the city and I went to Raising Cane's in Lafayette. And then from there, maybe, or the area of Raising Cane's maybe, and you'll see what's in that shopping center, the different stores. So what it does is it gives you a count of how many people visited Main Street, the downtown area maybe, or maybe the hospital, Walmart area, and where they came from to do that. So
And where they went after.
And when they left here, where they went after that. They demoed that product to me a while back, but it was too pricey for me to ask to pay for it. But it's a parish-wide thing now, so it's gonna work very well, and we'll be able to get data from it. This will help us understand what our events draw to our city, where those people are coming from, and where they go when they leave here. So if they go to an area that has, some kind of retail space or some kind of restaurant in another city when they leave here, well, we need to go talk to that restaurant or find out what's in that shopping center and try and get those things here in our city so that we can stop those people from going to the next city to spend their money there. So it's a really extremely important economic development tool is what it is. It is so much information there. It's unbelievable. And It is,
I've been through
it is scary.
six conference calls on it with it. And we'll pick an event, any event in the city of Crowley.
It hasn't
Not-
yet.
It's not. It's,
Yes.
it's just the city of Crowley, the Acadia Parish Chamber of Commerce has spent $80,000 on this program. The Main Street bought the city of Crowley's, area. It's costing us about $8,000 a year. That's not a one-time shot. But if, let's say we have Kids Day, we have about 5,000 kids come down here. We say we have 5,000 kids. We say we have 1,000 kids. We will be able to show you exactly how many people were downtown on that day. And we can tell you where they left. They left at noon and they have to go eat somewhere. We can tell you where they went eat lunch. You can tell, they even have the information as the average yearly income of the person that owns that phone.
Yes,
I mean,
yes.
it's
Yes.
pretty scary. What I did,
Race,
I've been playing dummy
nationality,
with them for about a
sex.
year and a half now, and
Yes.
every time they'd call me, I said, well, I don't quite understand how it works. And I get a different one on there, and I said, well, what did you do on this day? So I've been able to gather the information on the days that we need, but there's too many more things that we do. Like, let's say for our 4th of July event that we have, we'll be able to tell you how many people went to the Rice Arena and how many stayed around to watch the fireworks, how many did,
Where they come from.
all of that info,
and
where did they
went.
come from? Because we've had people come from quite a ways away to come to some of our events, like our Taste of Crowley or our Art and Wine Stroll. People just see it on the internet, and they just come from Lake Charles, from Texas, Beaumont, and they just come just for the evening. Who'd have thought? But we will be, next year when I bring you this report, we'll have a lot of that data will be included in it. So we can say, now, we can't tell you how much they spent at each place.
No.
But if I bring in 150,000 more people to the city of Crowley, you figure they got to spend some money.
Yep. So anyway, I just wanted y'all to understand what that was. It's a huge tool that the Main Street is actually supplying for the city here.
Yeah, so
So before we finish, yes.
yeah, I have
Sam.
one question, and it's probably not a great question, but so because I guess the way you were saying it, we've got kind of the envy of the state. We're a fantastic place to be. We're closing the street off. What are we doing in case something like New Orleans?
So I can answer that. Actually, Brad and myself and the fire chief and the police chief recently met. And I'm trying to do it without asking for some money. I have some funds available that we're going to use. But we plan on starting as early as Mardi Gras celebration to historically, and being with fire and police all my life in this city, historically, besides putting the temporary barricades on the streets, on the intersections, our thing was always we have to leave access to these streets for emergency vehicles. And we still do, and there's options of barricades for that, but we don't have to leave every intersection open for emergency vehicles. We've actually been working on that behind the scenes. I don't want to. We don't need to say everything, but we've already started working on that. Thanks for asking, though. That's a great point.
Good question.
Great point.
Good point. Is there anything else that we need to discuss in this committee? Alderman Martin.
I mean, it is what it is. First of all, I got a two-part question here. And I like on your reports, there's one organization that's, I have to say, they go way beyond the call, and that's Delta Sigma Theta, the sorority. I like to see them added to the reports list and recognize
Absolutely.
them. for what they do.
Absolutely, I'll be happy to do that.
Step, they normally email us and let us know that they're going to be in attendance. We're in contact with them often.
I understand.
They
that,
let us know
but
that
I
they're
would
going to be in
do that.
attendance and they would like to speak on certain
understand
things,
that,
so.
But public recognition is public recognition. We know they're coming, but, I mean, and I can honestly tell you, they never asked for this, you know, but looking out and seeing what's what, they're a pillar of the community. And the second one is something, man, and I have to say, it broke my heart. Who made the schedule for the Mardi Gras, as far as the bands? The entertainment?
Me and Valerie, I mean, we had some opinions of other people and just kind of put it together. With the budget that we had, we hired with the funds that we had.
Well, I'm gonna tell you this right here. I had phone calls. Matter of fact, I called and text Byron. It seemed that the black community is being forgotten about. You know, and I'm gonna say it right now. I'm very disappointed. Okay, we have one of the most recognized persons in the United States with Kenny Wayne. Okay. And
Yes, sir.
I mean, the bottom line is we know what he charges or what have you. But at the end of the day, entertainment is entertainment. There are going to be some people here at our regular meeting, okay? And the question is asked. I mean, we hit our hands because we had nothing to do with the Rice Festival. The Rice Festival Association done that. And it was easy to talk to everybody and tell them we had nothing to do with that, okay? But this is on the city of Crowley. We using city funds, okay? And at the end of the day, I mean, hell, you could have called me. Hell, I'll get out there and DJ. You know, I mean, I hate to put it this way, but it's a fact that needs to be talked about. Okay, the biggest events in the city of Crowley, the Rice Festival, and right now with Mardi Gras, or what have you. We need to be more sensitive. I mean, even if, like I said, not everybody listens to everything, you know? So, I'm gonna tell you, there's a lot of disappointed people. And it makes it hard on the chief because basically, there's gonna be some entertainment going on, all right? Chief, you know what I'm talking about, all right? There's gonna be some entertainment. Yeah. I mean, so before it gets to a point where questions can't be asked, it's our job. We represent a quarter of the city of Crowley.
So, Mr. Martin, I'm asking, who you want to see Kenny Wayne on the deal?
Man, I want to see anybody that.
Well, no, not anybody. We
Well,
need to know who. Somebody needs to call. So I'll say this: work orders cannot be fulfilled on Facebook. I tell people that all the time.
Well, I don't do Facebook.
Complaints on Facebook do not get fulfilled. Call me, come visit with me. Hey, I'd like to see Step Martin DJing for Mardi Gras. Well, guess what? Step, what you gonna charge us? You can't charge us. So anyway, but you know what I'm saying? The comments and the complaints in the amongst the people need to call me. Most of them got my number.
Yeah, but man.
And everybody knows where City Hall's at.
Yeah.
Call and say, hey, for Mardi Gras, I'd like to see whoever it may be. I'll tell you that I was there and I sat and talked with Kenny Wayne's mama the last time he played for Mardi Gras.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I hate saying black entertainment or white entertainment because we separating ourselves again.
Well, no
but
one said that.
if we're gonna say that we need Kenny Wayne for our black community to have some entertainment at Mardi Gras, they didn't show up last time he played.
Well, but
They didn't show up. Our black community did not show up to support Kenny Wayne on that stage. I sat in the audience, in the thing with his mama.
Mayor,
And so we want to include everybody in our city when we hire these people, but I don't know. I know who I would like to see, but the city can't afford $10, $12, $15,000 for a good Zydeco band. We can't do it. We don't have that. We didn't spend that much total for the 4 bands that's out there.
I understand what you're saying, but at the end of the day, you missed the whole concept. The concept is, and I tell my kids the same thing, you send them an invitation. If they come or not, that's their business. So basically.
But you keep sending the same invitation and they keep not showing up.
Mayor.
What good is it to do to put somebody on the stage that's not supported?
Yeah, but
That man stood up there and sang on that stage, and they had a handful of people that showed up.
Yeah, but the people that showed up, okay? Most of them didn't understand the bus station or whatever.
No. I'm talking about Mardi Gras a few years back when Kenny Wayne played at Mardi Gras. And he did a hell of a job.
Listen, I understand that. But the fact of the matter is this. You got to have some type of consideration here. It don't matter whether it's Kenny Wayne or, like you said, call me and I'll get out there and play. People wants to hear what they want to hear, okay? With this lineup, it tells me, and we have one, one person, to be quite honest with you, I don't have too much for him. You know, one of the guys playing. I mean, this guy here got fired from Acadian Ambulance for wearing a Klansman suit, okay? But yet, he's in front of people, you understand? And look, people, y'all shaking your heads, but the truth is the truth. What I'm trying to say is this. We're using city money, okay? Whether they come or not, give something that's inducive to what we listen to, you know? And to be quite honest with you, I've been around places where the music is retroactive. Everybody loves it, you know? Everybody loves it. It's not white or black music, it's music. So I'm just saying we need to be more respectable because the word is they don't look into the black community until election time, you know? And it is what it is. Whether you accept it or not, it is what it is. The black vote is always going to be a powerful vote in this city, okay? Especially when you have two, shall we say, Caucasians running for that seat. That black vote going to count. Don't knock on our doors during election time, and when entertainment time, you don't even think about us. You know, I'm saying this before they come in here, and because I told a few people I would talk about it. But we need to be more inducive of, shall we say, let's give them, I'm going to use the term them, let's give the people a chance to listen to their culture, okay? Let's give them a chance. Nothing going to keep the, and I'm saying it like it is, the black community out past the parade or what have you, because there's nothing up there for them.
People hanging out with everybody, the joy of camaraderie, be there. I don't like all the music that's going to play either.
Well,
but I don't give a damn what's playing on the stage. I'm going to be visiting with the people.
Well,
that's what it's all about, hanging out with everybody getting together. That's what it's about.
But man,
so if anybody, and I'm going to say it publicly, I've said it publicly before, if anybody would like to suggest any entertainment, and I'm working on something down the road for, honestly, as much as I hate to say it, a black entertainment event, okay? Because I don't like separating black and white. That's not what we're here for.
Don't use the word
black.
Well,
but that's what's always used. We need some black entertainment. We need black entertainment. I'll tell you, I talked with the Rice Festival board real quick, and I don't want to go too deep into it, but I told them, I said, listen, we need to try and find you know, some more black entertainers for the festival. And some of them said, some of the people that I talked with, they said, well, we got Leroy Thomas.
Well,
I
who's
said,
Leroy Thomas? I
well,
don't know Leroy
we
Thomas.
need to find some black entertainers for the festival. But you, the funny part to me is that some of those white people don't understand that Leroy Thomas isn't very well known in the black community.
Well, there you go. Why give us something?
So
Just because it has.
We have to educate people, okay? And I'm telling you that I would love to include some black entertainment in these events, but we have to know who they want to hear.
Well, Mayor,
I don't know all of them, so. But come talk to me, come visit me, call me,
Okay.
please, and
Mayor,
I'll be
could
happy
Mayor,
to
could I
discuss it
make
with
a
anyone.
request? I'd like some jazz, maybe.
Let's do that too.
Some blue, yeah.
Some
maybe
good old blues.
Hillbilly, I'm good, I'm from Virginia.
Them blues
Hillbilly
bands is
band,
expensive too.
Blues band, yeah, I'm.
Okay,
all
anyway.
girl band.
So I think the point is that going forward, we'll ask for suggestions and look
I'm always
at
asking
all
for
those
suggestions.
options based on budget and do what we can do.
Step,
to-
call me and let's talk
Exactly.
about it. Let's
So-
find out who might be good to,
I hear what you're saying.
who
I'll
might be
meet-
well accepted.
I'll meet with the quote-unquote, the leader of this little group, and I'll pass the word along.
Yeah, give him my number.
Sound-
Give him my number.
Well,
Sounds good.
yeah, okay. All right.
Thank you so much for that. With that, the committee is going to adjourn.
Thank you, ma'am. Revenue and Finance, Alderman Lachele, you're the last one.
Thank you.
Again.
Caboose. The Revenue Finance Committee convenes. We have a quorum present. We have no reports to be given out. We have no action items. Any discussion to come before the committee? With none, the committee recess.
No, it was already done. It was just a committee.